Some AI providers are panicking because AI adoption supposedly plateaued last month. The headlines are screaming that businesses are giving up on AI and that we've hit some sort of ceiling at 41% adoption. But here's what's actually happening. While everyone's busy declaring AI dead, the reality is that companies just stopped buying the flashy stuff and are starting to build the real stuff. And if that sounds like a plateau, you've completely missed what's about to hit the business world. I'm Evan Goldstein. I'm a licensed professional engineer and a data scientist. I'm building AI Capitalist to talk to the leaders and the thinkers, like you, about navigating this brave new world of thinking machines. So I was reading a piece in TechCrunch the other day, and it's got me thinking about how we might be totally misreading what's happening with AI right now. The article was talking about data from what's called the RAMP AI Index. Now, this is a fintech company called RAMP that looks at how businesses are spending money on AI products by tracking their credit card transactions and their bill payments. This is sort of a clever back-end way to figure out what adoption rates of the technology actually are. According to their data, AI adoption leveled off at around 41% in May after almost 10 months of steady growth and the last couple months of very rapid growth. The article made it sound like we've hit some kind of ceiling, like businesses are starting to realize that AI isn't the magic bullet that they thought it was. They even mentioned how Klarna had to hire back customer service people after their AI replacements weren't cutting it, and about how 42% of companies are starting to abandon their AI pilot projects. Now, this, at least with the customer service representation, is a pretty common problem, and it's something I would advise anyone adopting AI to steer clear of for now. AI is enormously powerful for certain processes, but honestly, I haven't seen an AI chatbot, and definitely not a voice operator, that's powerful for certain applications that doesn't just start speaking complete gibberish about company policy. Now, chatbots are very strong in certain applications like legal or building code interpretation. But customer-facing, I've been hearing about customer-facing chatbots for 2 years now, and the way that I hear about them is mostly through their catastrophic failures. But here's the thing, and this is where I think that the article completely misses the mark. We're talking about 1 month of data here. It's not a trend. It's not even really a blip on the radar. It's like looking at your phone battery at 3 p.m. and then declaring that it never charges properly because it's not 100%. What I think is actually happening is way more interesting than some supposed AI plateau. We're watching the industry mature. Up until now, most businesses were just buying ChatGPT subscriptions or Claude subscriptions, and then they were calling that AI adoption. Like if you had a chatbot window open, you were AI savvy. It's like buying a fancy camera and then thinking that you're a photographer. Got the tool, but you're not really using it strategically. Do you know what an ISO setting is, or white balance, or shutter speed? These are all things you have to learn. But now we're moving into the automation phase, and it changes everything about how money flows in the AI world. Instead of just paying OpenAI or Anthropic for chatbot access, companies are starting to build dedicated automations for specific business processes. Think about an engineering firm. They might create an AI system that automatically reviews building code compliance, or one that generates initial structural analysis reports, or maybe something that processes client requirements and creates preliminary project timelines. One thing I'm working on is one that will take verbal notes that someone took while they were walking a site and turn it into documentation that can then be used for design. It's a very specific process. You can't just throw it at the chatbot most of the time. You have to have it transliterated or transcribed, and then you have to take that and turn that into a format that's easily readable in paragraph and sentence format. The data has to move from point A to point B to point C through the language model, and it's a process. So these are not generic chatbots anymore. They're purpose-built tools that take a specific workflow and they make it faster, more accurate, cheaper. And when companies do this, the money just doesn't directly go to OpenAI or to Anthropic anymore. Instead, it goes to the automation platforms, to the integration specialists, those are the consultants who come in and they build these custom solutions. Companies like AI Capitalist that help businesses figure out exactly which process to automate and how to do it. So when RAMP looks at their spending data, they're probably seeing fewer direct payments to the big AI companies, and they're just interpreting that as adoption leveling off. But what they're missing is all the money flowing to automation tools, custom integrations, and specialized AI consultants. It's like saying that people stopped buying music because CD sales dropped. completely ignoring the rise of Spotify and the streaming services. The spending patterns changed, but the actual consumption exploded. I think we're actually looking at the beginning of AI really taking off in business, not the end. We're just moving past the let's try this chatbot thing to the let's actually transform how we work phase. And honestly, that's way more exciting than another ChatGPT subscription. The data might show us plateau, but I'm betting that we're really just watching the industry shift gears into something much bigger. Now, I want to take a look at the data for a second, because here we're seeing the ramp estimate, and we're seeing it shooting up the last 2 months until April, and then just a very slight rise from April to May. This is amazing. What other industry or technology has adopted this quickly? There's the US government just sitting on the bottom there. And when we look at sectors, we can also see the areas where it's most adopted is obviously in technology. That's also where they've had the waves of layoffs of programmers. Second most in finance, which was really one of the driving forces behind the development of artificial intelligence. The engineering fields, construction, manufacturing, are way down here already. We just haven't seen the adoption yet. We're just at the beginning of this thing. We see medium-sized businesses are lagging large businesses, but not by a whole lot. What's most interesting to me is the model. Anthropic is hovering at 9%. You have the other players, Google and XAI and DeepSeek. These are all great models, by the way. But OpenAI is taking this huge percentage of the overall market. What's that like? More than 3/4 of the market is going to OpenAI. And I think the reason for this is that OpenAI has a lot of built-in tools. So if we just go to ChatGPT, we have video development tools built in. But we also have this library of GPTs that people have built, and these feed into other applications. So most likely what we're seeing is this adoption of tools and multiple use cases, and people in the working world finding ways to actually apply the technology. And that doesn't say drop off to me. That just says more and more sophistication. And if you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate it if you push the like button. Pressing like lets me know I'm making content you want to see, and it spreads that content to others. So thank you for supporting AI Capitalist.